Hey everybody, it's the Chris and Des Show. I'm Chris.
You look like you're.
I'm trying to.
I'm Des. He's like on the firing line.
Just so you can see me. And today we're going to talk to you about WandaVision, which is streaming on Disney Plus.
Right, and today is February the 9th, 10th? The 10th. So there's only been 5 episodes.
And yes, on Friday the 12th, the
as of
6th
now,
episode comes
out.
out.
As of recording this. It's important.
It's important to know.
Yes.
It stars Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda, who has played Wanda the whole time in the Marvel Universe, and Paul Bettany, who's played Vision the whole time.
Yep.
And some other great people. Des, what do you think?
I love it. So this is, I have another family friend who, they have a little girl, and we have a FaceTime date every week to watch. We started with watching The Mandalorian. And so we would meet every week and we would stream together and we would do the group watch thing on Disney Plus and we would FaceTime on an iPad. And so it's just good community time that we watched The Mandalorian together. And then The Mandalorian ended. And so then we're like, well, we need a new thing. And so we started watching WandaVision. And I could not absolutely love it more. I already love the MCU, and I think they have been so successful in establishing this whole world, and they have done it perfect. Like, they've done it right. And Kevin Feige, the guy who's kind of in charge of the whole thing, is so good. And you can tell that there's one guy in charge of the whole thing, and so it's working really well. And I think this fits into it just great. I trust them. And the first few episodes, you don't really know what's going on. And they keep you in the TV show. And you just have to sit back and say, what is happening? This is crazy. And gradually they start to reveal. Now, we're trying not to spoil anything for you. And then we're going to get to a point where we're going to say, okay, now we're going to do both conversations in this video, just so you know. We're going to try not to spoil it. So if you haven't seen it, my 2 cents is, what are you waiting for? Get on there, because if you don't, it's going to get spoiled for you, because we live in 2021 now, and you are going to get spoiled if you are paying attention at all. So I love it. What do you think?
Yeah,
I could talk about it all day long. I love it so much.
Yeah, no, I feel exactly the same way. It's one of my favorite shows for sure. And maybe my favorite. I love it so much.
Well, it incorporates all this nostalgia too. That is so fun.
And you'll be hard pressed to find someone who loves old television like I do, because I love it so much.
Yeah.
So it is like it goes by decades, which is also really cool. Right? The first episode's the 50s and the 60s and 70s and 80s, and next week's gonna be the 90s and stuff. And so they even take place in, like, the 50s takes place in the Dick Van Dyke house, and the 60s takes place in the Bewitched house, and the 70s takes place in the Brady Bunch house, and the 80s takes place in the Family Ties house. And so they're all in these houses that are replicas of these iconic shows from those different eras, which is really cool. And so not next week, Friday, in 2 days, it's supposed to be the 90s, which is really cool because it's going to be in the Full House, and Elizabeth Olsen is Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's sister, and so her sisters became very famous and very popular as Michelle.
Very meta.
Full House.
It is very meta for this all to be happening. I think it's so cool.
She is involved in that. Like, she has a connection to Full House, right, as well too. So that's super cool. Yeah. Anyway, it's just so fantastic. Though I loved the first few episodes where it was literally just like a 50s sitcom, and there was nothing else, and Wanda is on
and these quirky
black
things
and white,
are happening, and you don't really understand, and it goes to color. And now,
so good.
Are we do the spoilery part now?
Well, first, let me say,
okay,
you don't need this. Is not a spoil. Emmy voters, I know all of you are watching this right now.
Yes, they are enraptured about our little podcast here.
Don't buy into this like BS thing that says like superhero stuff isn't worthy of awards type stuff. I would argue that Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda is just as good as any performance you're seeing on TV right now. Even like in The Crown and stuff like that, she's just as good.
Yep.
It's quirkier and more fun. but she's really good at
the
playing
complexity, the complexity in Wanda is all the different layers that are happening at the same time, and you see her thinking about this and what is that, and and all the stuff she is doing. I totally agree. I totally agree.
Even her accents, like there's a time when you get to see more present day stuff. I don't want to spoil anything, but then she's like back to her like Russian-y accent because that's where she's from, right? And then she goes back when she's in the 50s sitcom. She's no accent at all.
Yeah.
She just is so good and consistent at playing this
and
part.
Her mannerisms are totally matching in every decade that it's going through. It's really well done.
She really deserves some attention. And so Paul Bettany is amazing as Vision always too.
Yes.
So and
Paul Bettany, he should get all the awards.
And I love Tayoni Paris, who is playing Monica Rambeau. She's been excellent in there too.
Who's that?
That's Monica.
Oh, okay. What, the next door neighbor?
That's Catherine Hahn. She's hilarious. Yeah, she's hilarious.
She kills it.
But my son and I just watched Captain Marvel, and here's what I show you. If you're gonna watch WandaVision, you should watch. Make sure you've seen Infinity War and Endgame because it's like directly afterwards. You won't understand what's happening if you haven't, which I think every human at this point has.
A couple times.
And then if you haven't seen that, you should also watch Captain Marvel because Monica Rambeau is a big part of Captain Marvel. Her mom is a huge part of Captain Marvel. And then they are also in this show, and so you can see the connection of like, oh, okay, this girl is from here.
For sure.
Which, again, the MCU is so good because they bring these characters that you already know from this and you love from this, and then they're all here together in this.
It's so smart. It is so well done because it's smart in the first place, and then it's executed so good. Right. So good.
And even Kat Dennings' character, Darcy, she's from Thor, and now she's in here as well, too.
And the guy from Ant-Man?
I don't remember now. Is it Randall? No,
Randall Park,
Park, yeah. I love
He's a policeman in Ant-Man, and then he comes back and he's a guy in this one. Yeah. He's so great.
Yeah. Okay. If you
haven't watched it and you don't want it to be spoiled, stop the video. We love you. Okay, bye.
I'll see you in a little bit.
All right.
Okay.
Now we're in spoiler vision.
Spoiler. Okay, so the first few episodes are 50s sitcom, 60s, 70s, and they are, some things are starting to go awry.
Yes, things
are
weird.
In the 50s episode, barely anything goes awry, except that guy kind of chokes.
Right.
And dies, and that's kind of like a weird thing.
Vision fixes him, and she breaks and tells him to
do it. Yes. And then in the 60s, we start to see like the little plane, helicopter, drone thing, and it's like in color. And then the bees guy comes up, and she's like, bees!
and again, she breaks, and she rewinds all of it, and is in control. That's our first that she is controlling something.
And in the 70s, then a lot of stuff,
it's all starting to go down.
But Monica Rambeau comes into the world, right? And there's all this stuff. And so there's so many great Easter egg videos on YouTube about this.
And you can watch it. From them.
But even like in the 60s episode, the Bewitched one, when that girl, I forget her name, the blonde one who like cuts her hand and then like the blood is in red and there's all this connection. And you can hear someone talking to Wanda through the radio. And then it's so cool because later on we get to see who it was and then contacts her. And so
it's episode 4 where we start seeing the other side, where we start with,
I think it is, you're right, yes.
I think it's episode 4 where now we're starting with the character who what's her name, who joined the Monica. We start with Monica after having been shot out of this world. Now we're with Monica, and now we see what is happening.
And I learned this. Okay, so in the comics, there's a really cool, you can watch Elizabeth Olsen go through the history of Wanda in the comics on YouTube as well. Super cool. Yep. And she talks about it.
And that's old. That's not new.
Yeah, I know. That's when she started doing Wanda.
She did that a long time ago. And she holds up the comic books and she's
like, this happened. And then this happening.
And it's all kooky. It's crazy.
And so I loved when she came out of her world that she's created. Yeah. And she was talking to them and she was like, kind of like, leave me alone.
And she's back in her outfit, her superhuman, like,
Scarlet Witch outfit.
Yeah, her Scarlet Witch stuff with the big coat and everything, and
And she's like, "Leave me alone," or else ... And then I love when she's leaving. She like throws all they're pointing these guns at her, and she throws all the guns onto this director guy.
Yeah.
Who some people say like that the fact that he's a director is like he the bad guy. Is he forcing Wanda to do this? Is he directing these episodes? Connection there kind of thing. But I didn't
There's
realize
all sorts of theories.
That I had forgotten that I remember now from the X-Men movies a long time ago. Magneto is kind of Wanda's father, like kind of not.
Here's the thing with comic books. When you're trying to tell a story for years and years and years and years with the same character, and you want there to be high stakes, they just keep coming up with crazy things. And that's that video that where she's saying, and this crazy thing happened, and then this crazy thing happened. And in one of those crazy things, she was Magneto's daughter.
And then she wasn't.
And then she wasn't. So it's like a soap opera where they're dead, and then, oh no, they're back. And, it's just craziness.
But he does that in one of the X-Men movies also. Throws all of it. So it's kind of like a nod to that as well, too. And then this last episode at the very end, please stop watching if you haven't seen it.
Don't get spoiled.
At the very end.
Because it's a great reveal.
Her twin brother, who died in the
movies.
In the Avengers Ultron.
In the movies.
He died in Avengers Ultron, which when we first meet Vision and then her, and it's great and stuff. But they're twins and they have this link or whatever. And so when he dies, she like feels it and she gets all upset and she blows things up. But the guy, I love the guy, Aaron Taylor Meshra, I can't remember his last name, but the guy who plays him in the Marvel Universe. But the guy who shows up at the door is not her brother from the Marvel Universe. He is her brother from the X-Men movies.
What? It was crazy!
So this is their setup. The Disney
They're
notes.
Starting to like overlap this former, because X-Men movies started way before the MCU.
Well, and Fox owned them.
Right. I don't know.
Before Disney and Fox were together, when they were separate companies, Fox owned the X-Men
and
characters.
They did their own movies.
They did their own thing.
Who owns Spider-Man? Sony. Sony owned Spider-Man, and they did their own thing. Fox owned X-Men, and they did their own thing. So they're bringing them together.
Right. And so this is
they already brought Spider-Man in.
Setup. This is Disney's setup to
I'm
bring
so excited. I
the
think it's
X-Men
great.
characters into the Marvel Universe. This is the first one we see. And it's because
I want them to bring Wolverine in.
Disney bought Fox, which is the whole why this all works perfectly together.
Disney owns everything.
Right. They rent out Spider-Man in a weird way of like there's this whole long thing you can watch about Sony and renting them back.
I think they're going to bring all the I heard something they're going to bring all the Spider-Mans together in some kind of multiverse thing.
Well, that's the new movie is all of them. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland.
Smarter than anything. Make it work. We have this whole big history. Just make it work now. It's comic books. It can be whatever we want it to be.
Well, and it'll be so cool when all the Avengers can come together and the X-Men are there also as part of it. That's a really cool. And so my dad, his comic was X-Men. Like he read every single X-Men comic. He knows everything about X-Men. So I was talking about it and he was telling me way too much. I don't remember all of it. But he was telling me all about like
he's
how
an authority.
Quicksilver is really part of the X-Men also, which is her brother. Right?
Yep.
And so he was telling me all about like this connection here. I'm like, oh, excellent. Great. I love it.
There you go.
I'm not into comic books, but I love all the Marvel stuff because they've done such a good job. Disney, good job to that. Kevin Feige, good job.
Disney just makes things correctly. They just care about it and they do it in a way where we all can be appreciative of it, no matter what level of knowledge you come into it with. You're going to have an entertaining time. WandaVision is completely entertaining if you have never seen it before in your whole life. Right. You're going to understand what's going on. And at the same time, there can be now, I counted at least 20 different WandaVision reveals, secrets, what you didn't understand. All these kind of videos on YouTube going deep and deep and deep into these things with all sorts of stuff. Right. And so it's well done. It is well done.
I will say Disney, what they're super smart at, and Kevin is probably also, finding out which characters like connect with people or not. Because my dad was always telling me, in the comics, Wanda is like a throwaway character. Really.
Yeah.
She's not Iron Man, and she's
not.
not
Yeah, no,
whatever
she's not.
X-Men. She's not those people. She's not even part of the X-Men. Her brothers, and she's not even. But
She's just
someone
another book.
put her
another book to
in
be out there.
one of the Marvel movies, the Age of Ultron, and everyone was like, "Oh, she's first of all, Elizabeth Olsen's really good, an actress." And this character's kind of fun to play with. Oh, her and Vision liking each other, and then everyone started liking her and Vision together. Like, oh, well, let's put them in the other Avengers movies. Okay, great.
Well,
and then
that's
there
from
they
the
are.
comic books too. I mean, that's
Right.
how that relationship
So
starts in
she
comic books.
now, like nowhere. What I'm saying is, I don't think anyone who read the comics would thought Wanda's not going to get her own show.
I know,
She's
right? Yeah.
She's nobody.
Yeah.
But she
Well, that's-
has.
Yeah.
And she's now like in the next Doctor Strange movie, and she's in all. She now Elizabeth Olsen, smart girl.
Yep.
Has made this a great character, and now Disney's like, okay, we're going to use you in every
Absolutely.
Avengers movie that we possibly can.
Well, Marvel figured that out when they started with Guardians of the Galaxy. There's this obscure thing, and they just made it great. And so now, like the next phase, are we on phase 4, phase 5?
I think
We're in
5.
phase 5. Part of phase 5 is all these more obscure Marvel characters getting their own movie and doing some. And we're gonna. They're not stopping. They're not stupid. They have plenty of stuff to make more and more movies, and I think they're just doing it right.
It's so good. I
So
know.
smart.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't wait. I'm
can't wait
excited
either. I'm
about
so
all
excited
of the
too.
stuff that MCU puts out. I think
know.
it's going to be great.
There's a video you can watch again of Kevin going through like, here's what we're doing in the next 3 years.
Well,
And
yeah,
it's like,
it's from-
yes,
It's
all
from
these things.
some kind of convention or something.
Yeah, the
D23
D23
or something.
one, yeah.
Something.
And it's so good.
He's smart.
He's a smart guy.
Smart.
He's a smart guy. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, and they're super fun.
Yeah,
This way, watch the show, watch WandaVision. You will like it.
Yeah,
you will
for
like
sure.
it for sure.
it's great.
So let us know what you think. Let us
Please
know any
engage
like
with
this
us.
is super
Go
fun.
ahead and
This is
give a
great.
comment.
Like, subscribe.
Subscribe. There you go.
All right. Bye.
Bye.